everybody, I'm Simmons. This is May the 5th, 2020. It's Cinco de Mayo, which is ultimately just Spanish for it's Soren Kierkegaard's birthday. So, I wanted to bring my son on today to introduce you to someone really special in light of this awesome day.
This is my pet bird named Soren, and my dad named him actually after Soren Kierkegaard because my dad quotes, he's soaring through the sky. So this is my pet bird. He's a boy, and he loves running around and playing.
So in honor of Kierkegaard's birthday, I want to talk about just a couple things that I think are worth our time and attention. These are ideas in his thought that have influenced me deeply and actually helped me to become the kind of person that I am, for better or worse. First, Kierkegaard does not view faith simply as affirming certain propositions. In other words, faith is not ultimately about belief for Kierkegaard. It's about the orientation and the investment of our very subjectivity. The way I describe this to my students is that faith is ultimately risk with direction. Risk with direction. We risk ourselves, but not simply because of some blind leap in the dark. We risk ourselves on purpose with a particular orientation. The second idea in Kierkegaard that I find extremely important is the way that he understands existence to be what he calls the moment of decision. We decide what is worthy of our investment, what's worthy of our faith, what is in fact ultimately the direction into which we will continue to move. Life is not ultimately defined ahead of time once we make a few key decisions, like a college major, who we're going to spend our life with, and what our job is going to be. These are important things for sure, but they are ultimately just one more instance of the decision that we make at every moment. Who is it that we are becoming? That question, who will I be? Who will I have been? That's a decision we make each and every single minute. The third idea in Kierkegaard is one that I often paraphrase to my students as the following: you are who you are becoming. In other words, wherever our faith lies, whatever we decide is worthy of the decision that we make at every minute, we are also narrating our identity by these choices and by this faithful action. We are not simply going to be someone of significance. We are only ever becoming someone. In this idea, Kierkegaard allows us to understand that existence is not, again, about status and power and achievement. It's about striving and wrestling and movement. This idea of a dynamic orientation toward who it is that I am becoming is what should propel us forward and help us to make decisions that we take to be virtuous, true, and beautiful. When Kierkegaard was just a very young man, college age, he wrote a journal where he says the important thing in his life is not what to do, but what he will consider true. In other words, it's not just about what job we have. It's not just about what accolades and awards that we have won. It's about who we have become in relationship to what we take to matter. That idea he calls truth. And he says ultimately that the truth for which he can live and die, that is the truth that is true for him. What he's suggesting is that truth is something that has to be appropriated. It's got to be something that we live out and we live into. It's got to be the frame by which we make sense of ourselves and our relationships with others. So when it comes to Kierkegaard, 207 years ago, this guy began a life that only lasted 42 years and nonetheless offered for us a wealth of literature, a wealth of writing that helps us make sense of who it is we are, what it means to have faith, how we live into that faith every single minute and every single decision that we make, and ultimately what narrative of our lives define how we have understood ourselves truly. With all that said, now go enjoy Cinco de Mayo, Soren Kierkegaard's birthday. I'll see you tomorrow, unless a piano falls on our head.